Hello, everybody. Welcome to our podcast this month. And this month's topic is leading organization. And I can't think of a better person to invite to our podcast today, Alex. So Alex, he's the founder and CEO for TriVietVision. And previously, he was the Chief People Officer for Momo and also other large companies like Alibaba and Lazada. So he has a wealth of experience to share with us today on the importance of culture, leadership, and managing large teams. And I can't wait for him to tell us more. Alex, over to you.
Thank you for having me, Mike. This is a great opportunity that I have a chance to share with the other leaders who are part of the community. And today we will discuss, I believe, a very important topic, leading organizations. And I believe that today we're going to talk not only about the business, but how to be a great leader for non-profit organizations, for any group that has common goal, common target to achieve.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex. So let's jump right in. So I really want to ask you, Alex, how did you become an inspirational and motivational leader?
I think that none of us is born as a leader, right? Most commonly, when we are trying to achieve something, we need other people, right? It takes a lot of effort to succeed in a complicated project, deliver some new product or service, or maybe even change the world, right? And this is the moment where there will be one person who will accept the responsibility to lead, take responsibility to take decisions, right? And I strongly believe that eventually all the people have this opportunity. I think that some people feel more confident in delivery, and some people feel more confident delegating to other people and building teams, taking responsibility for others. So I believe that inspirational leadership is not something that you're born with. It's something that is gained over a lot of attempts, sometimes failures, and I believe that it's impossible to achieve becoming inspirational leaders without a lot of mistakes and learning.
Awesome. So, okay, why is it important to be an inspirational leader in a large organization? Why is it important?
I believe that in any organization that has a common goal, everything comes to the point that people have doubts, people have concerns, people need somebody to guide the group. Especially it's important when the organization tries to innovate, because innovation is not something that is guaranteed. You invest a lot of resources, you get people together and people start to challenge each other, they start provide conflicting ideas, and eventually we need one person who will take responsibility for the final decision maker. And all those decisions, I hardly believe that any decision has unanimous support. There will be always people who will challenge the idea, doubt the idea, and being an inspiring leader helps to bind people together and inspire them even with ideas that they might not believe at a certain point of time. So being an inspirational leader really helps to go forward, to make sure that all of the people come to the common agreement and can successfully deliver common shared goal.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. And, in a large organization, it's usually very complex. How do you decide what to focus on?
I think that if we start the organization, every organization starts with a structure. It's very important that this structure and group of people have a common goal. And eventually, it's very important to make sure that everybody in the group have decomposed tasks, decomposed topics to work on. We can have a large idea like colonize Mars, right? But it's not like we just go and colonize Mars. We need to decompose this massive idea into a lot of different tasks, and then we need to prioritize them. We cannot build a transport ship if we don't have powerful engines, right? We need to have a technology, so this is where we have to identify what is we are lacking right now the most. There is a great book by Eliyahu Goldratt, which is called The Goal. And this is a really, really good book to identify how to choose things to focus on, how to identify the biggest constraints, the most impactful constraints in the organization that will really help to have high value high ROI at certain point of time.
Interesting. So you mentioned the leader has to set the vision. That's the one person that needs to be pulling everyone together. So when it comes to that, I think about the vision, maybe the values that comes with that. And how would you categorize the difference between mission and vision and the values of a company or large organization?
Yes, the first thing that companies decide is the first structure, right? Who is reporting to who, and then the company needs to grow. The moment that we start with the first group of people that get together by the founders, we start hiring your C-levels, people who lead the divisions, lead the departments. You can discuss to them in detail what you're building. This is not the moment that you need to finalize your vision and mission. You already have them inside your head, typically, because any business, any idea has some logic behind it. And this logic is called the vision and mission. However, when you start to scale the organization beyond like first 10 people, you need to have a clear explanation that everybody in the organization will simply understand. Especially it's important when you start to hire personal contributors, software engineers, sales, marketing people, back office. And this is where you formulate your vision. The vision is something that the company tries to achieve and have an impact on the world. Of course, maybe making hamburgers is not some visionary product, but feeding every single person in the planet can be a great vision, right? And if you look at some very typical common businesses that we know for hundreds of years, they have very impactful vision. If we dig deeper into either oil companies that try to provide low-cost energy solutions for developing countries, and all of the developing countries rely on cheap energy, right? This vision really helps to inspire people inside the organization. Nobody comes to the work to just grind from 9 to 6 just to get a salary and go. People want to believe that they have some positive impact on the world. Mission is something more practical and something that is really achievable. Mission can change from time to time. A lot of organizations have different stages in their life cycle where they have to change the mission. For example, right now, going back to energy organizations, they try to become sustainable. And a lot of missions of a lot of companies is pivoting more to long-term sustainability. And values is, let's say, it's those things that people share in the organization that make them work together effectively. When organization comes to creating their values, oftentimes they go to some online website with a list of values, or they go to the best company, Forbes 100, and just copy values. They just pick the values that they gravitate towards. But it's not how values work. Values is something inside us and something we seek in other people to connect. A good example can be, there are a lot of startups right now that have very high pressure work, like e-commerce have to change completely the way how we buy and sell things. And e-commerce, small startups, they compete with large retail networks. So they have to run very fast and they have expectations for their employees to work very hard. So telling about values which are like work-life balance inside organizations typically doesn't work. But if you will say that we are high performers, we are focused on, we are customer obsessed, it delivers the clear message that there will probably be overtimes. But at the same time, the value can be we care about our employees, customers, shareholders. It means that you work hard, you play hard, and you get great rewards. So these values become motivational and they clearly explain how people in the organization work. It's very important to look inside the, let's say, BOM of the organization, board of management, and extract values from them, what is important for them, and then to formulate them in the document, share with the rest of the company. It will really help to avoid situation which is quite common nowadays in companies, where the employees, which are very far from management, like 7 levels, 8 levels and more below top management, they become disconnected from the company. These, what values are shared, people will feel like, look, yeah, maybe I'm junior, maybe I'm intern, but the top management, we have the same values, we have the same set of values, we have the same set of beliefs, we have set certain behavior specifics which we all share, and it will be much easier for company to drive the change and deliver on customer promises.
Okay, that's very interesting. I want to break down even further. So what to you, I'm sure you have seen high-performing teams, and you've also seen low-performing teams in large organizations. What is a high-performing team?
Sure.
And how is it created and sustained in comparison to the low-performing teams?
Typically, every organization runs with the speed of the slowest link. I noticed that in modern world, oftentimes companies get a little bit lost in their goals, in their OKRs and KPIs, and they just focus on one aspect of the organization. Typically, it's sales. And a lot of investors, they push for the same behavior. And all of these, let's say, this kind of mindset, these kind of specifics, which are like focusing on one thing only, lead to the slow decay of the rest of the organization. If we look at some legacy companies, we look at all the manufacturing, old retail that survived for hundreds of years, even some Japanese Daibatsu, Korean Chaebol, those companies, they have a very strong governance, very strong foundation, where they have all of the indicators inside the company of what is going wrong. And they can early identify those challenges and make those incremental improvements to make sure that the overall performance of the organization is complementing each other. That back office is not lagging behind front office, that the technology really supports business growth, or opposite, that business works very close with technology to help technology deliver its promises. So I would say that I cannot say that some organization cannot afford. The situation where the company starts to slide down is the consequence of a lot of small mistakes that were just either unnoticed or that action was not taken to fix them. I would recommend organizations to really build this foundational policies, escalation methods, where the organization can understand if something starts to go. And fixing those things will help to bring the performance of the weakest link upwards and the overall organizational performance.
And what about culture? We often hear this word, especially in the recent 10 years or so. How does that have an effect on performance?
Yeah, culture is very broad definition, right? And right now, it's like a buzzword to attract Gen Z and millennials in organizations. But actually, the culture is just the set of behaviors that the company demonstrates. I wouldn't say that the company needs to improve the culture, because the culture is just a reflection of our life, right? It's very important that organization understands how its behavior is impacting its future, impacting its athletes. I can give a lot of great examples how in the gaming industry, we have seen how the gaming rise from a hobby into one of the biggest industry in the world. One of the biggest companies right now in the world are deeply involved in gaming. In Japan, we have ENG. In the United States, we have Activision Blizzard that was recently acquired by Microsoft. Those are multi-billion dollars companies. And the culture was very open and engaging and supportive. Offices were great. People were communicative. But at the same time, gaming industry is very famous for its crunch. It's like working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. And in the beginning, when you have enough people who are willing to work like that, things work. But eventually, when you become very big, eventually when your organization structure doesn't allow people to self-express themselves, when you don't see what is happening in different, very distant corners of your company, things can fall apart. And this is where, after many years, there were a lot of scandals related to the gaming industry, where the problems started to surface in the culture of the organization, but the action was not taken. So I would say that the culture is, it can be a very strong advantage of the organization, and it can destroy the company. It's very important to understand what is the culture of organization, how we should behave, and if somebody is misbehaving, the action should be taken, and people should be taken care of. Because if if the culture aspect of the organization slides, oh my God, it's so hard to recover.
Interesting. Now, that actually leads me to ask the next question. Low-performing teams or low-performing individuals, how do they affect the team, and what actions should we take so that it doesn't have a big impact on the organization? How do we handle teams?
My strong belief is that one of the key aspects that I said in the beginning is structure. But the structure should be transparent, and people should really understand what is happening in the organization. When you scale up, eventually something starts to become obscure. In the beginning, when you have 20 people, everybody can talk to each other. People understand what are the challenges. People understand where we're going. And as the organization starts to scale beyond 100 people, the information exchange starts to slow down. And it's very important that first we identify people who are underperforming, and then we understand why they are. Oftentimes they don't have enough information. They don't know where to go to get their answers. Sometimes their values don't align with the organization. I don't think that there are bad hires. There are people who were hired for wrong reasons. And sometimes the situation can be fixed. Sometimes there is just small misunderstanding in communication, just personality. Oftentimes, poorly performing employees can be moved from one team to another one, and it can solve the problem. But typically, you need to have some timeline. And I recommend to fix things within 2 months. And if there is no improvement in 2 months, of course, the corporate and employee can separate. A lot of people think that leaving the company is like a very horrible situation. I believe that for every person, there is a right company. People who are stuck in the company where they cannot, or where they are not appreciated, it's just long-term suffering for them. It's much easier just to quit and find a company where you can be appreciated, where you can shine and deploy your full potential.
That's a bigger point. Now to wrap things up, what are the three most important traits of a strong leader, and why?
Oh, it's so complicated with. Yeah, I think that there are no 3 traits that like universal. It's more like an exercise. So I think that you bring a great point. What would be the 3 for one particular person? And I think that it's very important to look inside and assess what are your strengths. I believe that there are so many different traits that can be a strength or weakness for one person, strength or weakness for another person. For one person, being introverted can be very challenging. Another person can convert themselves being introverted into innovative power. Like Steve Jobs considered himself as introvert, but at the same time, he was incredibly innovative, and he was able to present to tens of millions of people. He found a way to convert his personality aspect into his strength. At the same time, people sometimes get a little bit lost in understanding their weaknesses, and it's very important to understand what is the weakness and we're going to improve on it. One example can be sometimes people believe that they are workaholics, and that self-sacrifice helps their company to be really great. They're grinding 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, and it slowly starts to bring some chaotic chaos in the organization. Their health starts to decline, and the organization starts to suffer from it. It's very important to understand what is the limitation and fix it.
Well, Alex, I got a final question for you, and it's about our Leaders Create Leaders community. So Alex has been an active leader in our community for quite some time now. And how do you see the community, and how do you see the values that we provide to our members, to our contributors, and to our viewers?
I think that, as we discussed before, that it's impossible to achieve great success alone. All of the advance of humanity was built by groups of people, typically like-minded people. I believe that all of the leaders have this passion to create great things, to make the world a little bit better place for everybody. being inside the community helps you to understand different perspectives. It helps you to connect with people from different backgrounds, of the diverse origins, and helps you to have some of the feedback on your actions, ideas, third-party view. Really helps you to both constantly improve and have some critical support from outside. As leaders, it's oftentimes you cannot go to your organization and start complaining to your employees that they will lose hope. It's very important that your employees have strong belief in the leadership, and community really helps you to share with others about your challenges without risk that it will have a negative impact on your organization. I think that LCL is one of the strongest communities for leaders in Vietnam because there are leaders from all different backgrounds. I really appreciate all of the people that share their insights, share their ideas, and I really appreciate that you guys have created this community. Thank you so much.
Awesome. And thank you, Alex, for coming today. And good to see you all, and see you next time.
Thank you.